Beyond every illusion lies a deeper truth. Welcome to Beyond the Illusion with the R-TisT-O. Welcome to episode 7, Trusting What We See. And I thank you for taking the time to listen. As an illusionist, you learn something early on. People trust their eyes more than they probably should. If something looks real, feels real, most people accept it as reality. And illusionists, magicians, if you want to call that, understand this extremely well because a great illusion usually doesn't happen through speed alone. It happens because the audience becomes comfortable. Comfortable with what they think they understand, comfortable with what they believe they saw. That's where deception quietly begins, not in the secret move itself, but in the assumptions that the mind creates around it. I've noticed something interesting after performing for people over the years. The more confident and natural you appear, the less suspicious people become. A simple movement suddenly feels normal. An impossible moment suddenly feels believable. And honestly, that's what makes illusion so fascinating. People are not only reacting to what happened, they're reacting to what they believe happened. I remember performing a floating match illusion one night during a dinner outing. I showed the effect to an elderly man sitting nearby. The illusion itself looked impossible. A matchstick slowly floating above a playing card. The reaction on his face was unforgettable. He rubbed his eyes, looked back at the card, then stared at me in complete disbelief. After a moment, he said, "Wait here." A few minutes later, he returned with his wife and asked if I could show her the illusion too. I laughed and told him, "I'll show it to her, but you need to look the other way. Otherwise, tomorrow you'll probably try levitating your wife." Everyone started laughing. He started laughing and said, "Okay, I'll look the other way." But what fascinated me most was what happened during the illusion itself. His wife was completely focused on the floating match. To her, it was obviously real because she personally removed it from the matchbook herself. She cut it out. And while all of her attention stayed locked onto the match, she never focused on the playing card underneath. That small moment of attention changed everything. By the time she wanted to inspect the card, it had already been switched. I calmly handed her two different cards, same color, same design, completely ordinary. And once again, the impossible felt real. That's what illusion often depends on. Not forcing people to look away, but understanding exactly where the mind naturally wants to look. You will slowly begin understanding over the years that confidence changes the way people experience illusion. If an illusionist hesitates, looks nervous, the audience immediately becomes suspicious. But when the performer acts naturally, even impossible moments can begin to feel believable. That's because human beings constantly read body language, tone of voice, eye contact, timing. And most of the time, people trust confidence more than they trust logic. I've seen the spectators reject obvious explanations simply because the illusion felt too real in the moment. The mind begins thinking there's no way it could be that simple. And honestly, that's where deception becomes powerful. Not because the method is impossible, but because the performance quietly shapes reality around the method. I remember another a moment that showed me how strongly belief shapes the way people experience illusion. After I had finally mastered the illusion, the trick called the bat, the one that I bought from Hawaii, and I was practicing at the airport several years ago, I decided to show it to one of my elder family members. She was very traditional, very religious, deeply connected to her faith. To her, anything involving magic or unexplained things felt dangerous. So one evening, I jokingly said, "Auntie, let me show you something cool." Immediately, she replied, "Oh no, leave me out of that magic stuff." But I kept insisting, "No, no, no, just hold out your hand." I asked her to turn her hand over and just relax. Then I placed the penny on the back of her hand, and I calmly told her, "Just watch closely, watch the penny. The penny is going to melt into a dime." Uh, then I did it. "Don't worry, you won't feel anything." I slowly waved my hand over hers, and the penny changed into to a dime. She completely froze. For almost 20 seconds, she just stared silently at the coin, the dime. Then finally, she looked at me and said, "That was the devil." And then she added, "You need to stop this magic thing before you hurt yourself, young man." What fascinated me most wasn't the trick itself, it was how differently people interpret the same illusion. Some people see entertainment, some see mystery, and others see something far beyond logic. They remember how the experience made them feel. People want answers, explanations, something that makes reality feel stable again. Because when something impossible happens, even for a brief second, the mind becomes uncomfortable. That's why spectators immediately begin searching for explanations, strings, mirrors, masked hands, hidden devices, and the devil. And honestly, sometimes the explanations they create becomes more unbelievable than the illusion itself. I've seen people convince themselves of impossible ideas, simple because accepting the real explanation felt too simple. That's the strange thing about deception. The mind often prefers a complicated mystery over a simple truth it failed to notice. One thing performing magic illusion or taught me is that not every illusion is meant for every audience. You wouldn't walk into a children's birthday party performing dark psychological illusions like the bat, the burning the papers to ashes, and rubbing it in your arm and predicting a card. Children experience magic differently. For them, wonder is lighter, more playful, more innocent. That's why classic effects like cups and balls work so well with kids. Objects appearing, things vanishing, colorful surprises. To a child, that already feels magical enough, but adults react differently. Life changes the way people experience mystery. Adults carry stress, fear, beliefs, doubts. So when adults witness certain illusions, the reaction can become emotional. A coin melting from one object into another, a prediction appearing from ashes, a floating object moving by itself. Sometimes adults don't only feel amazed, sometimes they feel unsettled. And honestly, that's part of what makes performing so fascinating. Different minds react to mystery in completely different ways. A child may laugh, an adult may become silent, and another person may begin questioning reality altogether. That's why understanding people is just as important as understanding the illusion. This is Beyond the Illusion with the R-TisT-O. And remember, long after the illusion fades, what remains is the legacy we leave behind. Create your legacy.